us an example, because I know more about your situation. Can you tell us like about the closets and literally how, like,
Sure.
tell us about the main unit that you rented for most of the time?
Yep, so each of these units is about we're gonna call it 650 square feet, one bedroom units. And pretty well laid out, nice living space, good kitchen size, small bedrooms, and almost no storage, no closet, no yard. It was on a half-sized lot. Not a lot to offer if you're gonna stay there, and we lived in one of them and actually had a hard time living in it because we didn't have storage. You know, we ride our bikes around, we own possessions. Really hard to do when you don't have anywhere to put that stuff, and when you're trying to shuffle it. Okay, now we're gonna put the bike here, now we're gonna sit here, and that kind of thing. But you know, really great for Airbnb. Yeah, really great. There's a number of reasons. One, 650 square feet is a lot easier and faster to clean once, twice, 5 times a week than 1,200 square feet. 650 square feet is what I'll call rent limited in Minneapolis versus 1,200 square feet. I don't know what your guys' situations are, but I have not tested, but I have doubts about the what we'll call the upper limit on large group rentals for Airbnb. Mm-hmm. Let's say I've got a 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath unit. Can I command a higher Airbnb price? I can, but how often can I do it? Is that going to add up and outweigh just putting it on a lease and bringing in the easy money? Because the thing on Airbnb is we're open to same-day reservations. We're open to one-night reservations. We're open to, and every time that happens, you have to go and turn it over. Or we have cleaners now, so our cleaners go and take care of the turnover, but you have to deal with it on basically every single time someone goes in there. So for a smaller unit that's in a good location that you can really take care of and keep clean, it was really a no-brainer for us. I mean, I think at this point at this point each unit we double what we get on a lease rent-wise every month. That's the average. I mean, that's really easy.
How's the winter been?
Winter slows down, but winter slows down.
Is double the average for the year?
Slightly better than double is the average for the year. Okay. Winter, we have not yet had a month, even our slowest.
What do you mean by that?
Don't say I could rent my place for realistically $900. The lower unit, I could rent the upper one that we lived in.
On a lease.
On lease, yeah. I could rent the upper one. I think realistically for $1,100 or $1,200. Even though it's the same size, it's more interesting. It's lofted. It's a different layout.
Where is it located?
Technically, it is in the West Bank neighborhood, okay, which is right off of Riverside, behind the Masonic Children's Hospital. It's right off the park there. It's a really cool spot. There. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Went off that park exactly.
Yeah. Okay. It's a great spot. We actually didn't know about it until we went and looked at the place. So this is what I mean though. $900 a month in that lower unit. There's no charm. It's not special, but it's clean, and we've outfitted it pretty nicely. And we average out of that unit $2,000 a month.
Oh,
okay, so that's what that means. Now you can get nitpicky about it. We put water in, we put LaCroix in the fridge, we put beer in the fridge, we pay utilities. There's expenses that you might pass on as a landlord that you pay as an Airbnb operator, but even with those, we have not yet had an Airbnb month that did not better what we would get. We have not.
Even
dropped,
in the winter.
Even in the winter, we have not dropped below $1,000 a month. And when that happens, when you have that slow month, you just say, "Oh well, I'm not working as much." Right? That's it. It's like, "Oh, I'm not turning it over. I'm not communicating with people." You're kind of bummed out about it, but at least in the small apartment situation, you're still making what you would be making anyway. And now you're just working about the same amount for it.
Cool.
So that'll do it for my intro, I guess.
Yeah, Tyler, Go ahead and tell us your story.
Sure. So I've got the entrepreneur DNA. I've started a bunch of businesses through my life. My primary business, or my day job, if you will, is a social media agency. So I've got about 20, 25 people working in that business. I hired a president to run that company this past year. But this Airbnb business, I actually started 2 years ago. So I hired a Carlson entrepreneurship student at the beginning of summer and said, I want to build another business this year. I want to break even by the end of summer. And we spent the month of May and June figuring out what should we do. Figured out that Airbnb and Turo is like Airbnb but for cars, are some of the easiest platforms to get into to make money quickly. So we signed a lease early July, and I think our first month we did like $4.5 grand in revenue on a $1,500 a month lease. And I thought, this will work. And so, you know, we
Where
so all my units are downtown Minneapolis.
okay, in downtown.
So I had, we started with 1 for the first kind of season. We scaled to 5, we scaled to 8. At the Super Bowl this past year, we had 8 that were ours, and we managed 4 for other people, so we had 12 total. I think it was 50 grand for the weekend that we pulled in. So that was a lot of fun. We had $1,500 a night, minimum 3 nights for all of our units. And they're all 1-bedroom apartments. Most of mine are about 700 square feet. It's what's nice about the smaller ones is it's a lot less to clean, and that helps. So we've had about 300 reservations over the last 2 years. We've got a 4.93 star rating. I have done a total of maybe 10 of the 300 cleans. Mm-hmm. So I've got people who do that. I've got a full-time person, or almost full-time, and then 2 very part-time people that help. I've invested in some software to do some automation around the messaging, which has been awesome. So we've got 5 units today. We scaled back for the spring season because I don't know, my units don't quite, after you include all the utilities and the cleaning costs, for me it wasn't quite profitable, even for spring after the Super Bowl. So we went from 8 back to 5 or 12 to 5.
So when you say you scaled back, so you just sold the units?
So I have apartments actually. So I rent apartments and then re-rent them out with permission on Airbnb. So downtown Minneapolis. What's nice about downtown Minneapolis is the demand is very high and the supply is very low because most buildings don't allow it. So most condo buildings, most apartments don't allow it.
How are you getting past that?
It's great. You get a leveraging opportunity. So one of the buildings we went into had 22 unrented units.
In downtown?
Yep.
There's 22?
This is 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I go,
okay.
So if I rented 5 of them,
okay.
who's the person that's missing out on that, you know, $8,000 a month, $100,000 a year?
Yeah.
I'll pay somebody $100,000 a year to have these units if I can get permission to use Airbnb.
Sure.
So that worked. I presented offers to 2 different buildings this past week to get 11 more units. Mm-hmm. So that'd be about $20,000 a month in rent that we'd pay, but I know it would work for the summer. I know it would make money.
And so you can get them for that shorter term, summer only, and then be done with them?
I can, yep. So that was the offer for them, and so both of these buildings had 11 units open, and I said I'll take them for summer, and you've got other units you could still fill up, and then by the time winter hits, maybe September 1st, you can have September 1st leases come in, and so that I think could be a win-win scenario. And then they often ask for more money. I usually offer them like 10% above rent, which is fine because there's enough profits to go around to make that work.
And are you so basically you're just doing it for that short term, and then do they have the advantage of, I assume you like basically stage them for them, right?
Yep.
And so they come in and they're able to...
Yeah, so we rent furniture.
Yeah.
Yep. So on a 1-bedroom, it cost me about $6 grand in furniture and silverware and all that crap. So that inhibited, I mean, it's only $6 grand, but it inhibits your ability to scale. I wanted to get 5 more. You got to factor in first month's rent. You got to negotiate security deposits. You got, setup time. You got time before it starts being rented. So it's about 10 grand in cash, maybe 12 before it even starts the cash flow. So if I can rent furniture, that saves me 3.5, 4 of that grand. Makes it a lot easier for me to scale units faster. So that's what I chose to do, and it's worked out.
We had some empty units and thought about renting them for the Super Bowl and decided it wasn't worth it for one weekend, because I would have had to do it And I looked up a company that did rental furniture, but I can't remember who it was. Who do you use for rental furniture?
We use CM Jarvis.
Okay, that's not who it was. Okay.
Yep. So CM Jarvis is a really interesting company. A guy named Eric owns it. He has, on the order of magnitude, like 20 apartment buildings, like 1,500 units that he uses for corporate rentals. And then he also owns a furniture rental company. And then he also owns like a management company for corporate rentals. So he owns companies in that space.
Yeah.
And he's, I think, number 2 in town for corporate rentals.
Corporate rentals is
Huge.
it might be better than Airbnb because their tenants are so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in town to do something.
No, they usually.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah,
Is it
they're-
for business? Is what they're here for?
Yeah, and
Yep.
you get the 30 to 180 day stays, give
Yep.
or take, and it's just
Great tenants.
imagine having 0 turns in 6 months.
Mhm.
Hospitality, I mean, have you actually been to that?
So what I've chosen to do, especially because my units are downtown, is we've established partnerships with a lot of downtown companies. So I'll proactively reach out and say, hey, if you've got employees or clients or vendors flying into town, if you want to give them a different experience than a hotel, a sharing economy, closer customer service experience, you can have them stay with us. It'll be less expensive, better service, kind of a cool new thing that they can experience. And then anytime they have people come into town, so Target, Jamf Software, a bunch of those companies will send all their people towards our units.
Reach out to HR
Yeah.
for those companies, and eventually you'll talk to the right person. And it's just sometimes like for us, sometimes the dates work out, sometimes they don't. We try to, like the summers are easy for us, so mid to late summer we try reaching out to try to get the long terms, in the winter to get some cost certainty rather.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yep.
So these corporate rentals, this isn't through Airbnb, is it?
So I still do the corporate rentals through Airbnb. You could do them separate. I just think with the insurance, with the messaging, with the trust and safety, with legal, with a whole bunch of systems that Airbnb provides, ensure they take their 6 or 10% cut. I'm cool with that in exchange for it being a much easier experience. Like I know this is a trustworthy person. I can see the reviews. So we even have our corporate rentals go through Airbnb.
And they still leave you reviews and all that stuff?
Yep. Yep.
We are in the process of spending a ton of money on a very expensive website that manages everything. It's a short-term rental. It's more of a vacation, but that's the thing is, the Minneapolis short-term rental Airbnb market is a short-term rental market. It's not a vacation rental market. And that's pretty different when you go down to Florida or San Diego or whatever. It's a vacation rental market. But here it's a short-term rental market. You got to look for clients that are coming in for business, clients that are coming in for weddings, this, that, the other thing. They're not going to come here on a vacation. They will for, 90 to 120 days of the year, but you still got 250 days to fill up. So besides that.
When you say you got to look for, how is Airbnb not doing that marketing?
Well,
are they not your marketing?
I guess what I'm trying to say is you've got to proactively look for tenants in the winter, because you can't just wait, throw it on Airbnb and wait for it to fill up. It's not going to happen in.
So are you doing like Facebook ads? What does that look like?
Well,
look for
the proactively reaching out for longer term stays. So I mean, if I can get someone in a couple, 3, 4 of my properties from September to February, March, whatever, I'm probably not going to make as much money as I would in the winter, or in the summer, even at 80% occupancy. But I've got someone in there that's going to make me $500 a month, and if everything goes well, I don't have to do a thing. Whereas in February, I might lose $200 a month just because it's February in Minnesota.
Yep.
And we're in the process of branding. We've got a really good URL. We're Stay Minnesota, so we're trying to get as many website bookings as possible. So
there's
that's
also a
20%.
min-stay, correct?
Huh?
There's also a min-stay, correct?
Yeah, there's a min-stay.
Yeah.
He does a lot of high-end Lake Minnetonka stuff like that.
He was invited to be here, but it was on too short a notice.
Yeah.
He couldn't make it.
Yeah. But I've never met him, but yeah, he goes after the big fish.
Does that work together with Airbnb, or is that like a
That's
how
gonna
do
be.
you manage the different?
Yeah, the software that we're I mean, it's a 2-month ramp for us to even be live on it,
Yeah.
but it integrates on 25 different platforms, meaning we can go to VRBO, Booking, anything possible. There's a bunch of stuff in Europe that's very popular that obviously doesn't apply to us, but we're going to go to about 5 or 6 of the big ones in town here, or that are popular in the United States.
So it syndicates it over.
Yeah,
those-
I mean, the calendars sync up, so if
Gotcha.
someone books on Airbnb, boom, those dates are blocked on every other.
I see.
All the automated messages are all, so if someone, like the VRBO is very bad for automated messages and stuff like that, they don't allow that, Airbnb does. It'll go out, it's very streamlined.
Huh.
I mean, we can open up tickets, if a screen is broke on a property, one of our cleaners can take the app, take a picture of it, boom, and that'll come to us, to headquarters, and we can go, we can put our handyman out, or whoever's got doing our stuff can go and fix the screen or take it to Ace and have them fix it or whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's just so when you're trying to scale, there's just so many things that
Which software are you planning to use?
streamline
Okay.
is what it's called. And we did a lot of research, and we hope it's the best, but there's just so many of them out there
Right.
that do the things that we're talking about.
Is that specifically for short-term rentals, or is that more like for just rental management?
I mean, if it's for short-term rental, it's a short-term rental, but I mean, it's if you've got 20, 30, 40, 50 properties, it's
How
something like that.
How
Yeah.
many do you have?
We're somewhere in the teens. We're trying to acquire them, and this is one thing I do want to impress upon you guys. When you acquire, if you're going out and acquiring them, and if you're not buying them, which obviously is very capital intensive, I would highly recommend master leases, and try to lock them up for a long period of time, because there's so many things
Can you
that.
explain what a master lease is?
Yeah, I mean, a master lease is you've got the property and you control everything. You control, I mean, we can go.
Yeah, do you know what a
put
triple net
box.
lease is?
No.
Yeah, it's
That's where you're paying comments
Yeah.
and all that.
yes,
stuff,
it's a
right?
triple net. You
Yeah.
pay every expense associated with the property.
Yeah.
I mean, we go for 3 and 5 years only, because for us to throw a bunch of, for a 3-unit, for us to spend $25,000 literally to get it up and running, by the time you got $3,000 in rent and another $3,000 in security deposit, and then furnishing the entire thing, and then the month it takes you to furnish it, you're out
And
another
then
$3,000.
once after it's furnished,
Yeah.
so after you've rented it, after you've furnished,
Yeah.
then you take pictures, and then you can start marketing
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
And then it takes 30 days for it to get booked.
Yeah,
So
uh-huh.
there's a window there that's
Yeah,
Huh.
it's not like, you just sign the lease and start making money right away. And as even if you try to stay as organized as you can, and we have Amazon lists where the minute we get a property,
You know
there's
what to buy, yeah.
78 things that have been ordered.
Yep.
Kitchens are easy,
Yep.
obviously. Beds are easy. Get the green tea 12-inch memory foams. Huh? Yeah, that's what everybody gets.
Is the
'Cause
what
they're-
memory foams?
Huh?
The what memory foams?
Green tea 12-inch memory foams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're 300 for queens, give or take, or 250 for queens, all the way down to 150 or 125 for a twin. It's delivered right to your door. It's perfect.
So you're leasing all yours as well?
No, we own probably about half. We just went under contract on an 8-unit in Uptown, which we're super excited about.
Nice.
And we're in the high teens, and we're probably about 50-50 on. We manage 2 or 3 of them, and we don't like managing them at all because we don't have control of the property. If we want to replace all the crappy $9.99 blinds with light diffusing $49 blinds,
Mm-hmm.
we've got if it's 8 or 10 blinds, it's $500.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't. And all that matters for reviews. All that matters. So we try to have complete control of the property, and it's definitely more expensive. But if you can do it if you can lock it up for a longer period of time, it's worth it. And you know what? Eventually, that person's going to want to sell, and if he wants to sell, or she, or whatever, they'll probably sell to you because you've got 2.5 years left on your lease, and no one's going to want to buy it.
Do you usually have any rent escalators in your leases, or are they the same? Yeah,
we try not to, but
you kind of have to, right?
But
Yeah.
the ones we accept are property tax raises because you kind of got to.
Yeah, well, triple net would actually have that in
Yeah, it's a triple net. Yeah, but other than that, we really don't want to pay escalators. We will maybe $50 a month or $50 a year, something like that. But we're not going to do, big escalators just because yeah. But you know,
Sure.
it's all a negotiation, I guess.
By the way, you haven't done your introduction yet.
I'm Scott, stay in Minnesota, and I've probably pretty much done my introduction. So.
Question in the back?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember what I was gonna ask. Oh, do you say, okay, do you seek out a person that's a cleaner for Airbnbs, like they have their own little business turning over Airbnbs, or is it like you find this cleaner and say, I'm gonna help, will you clean my Airbnbs, I'll train you the process, blah, blah, blah. So is there a service in Twin Cities that does that, or do you go the route to train your own person? It's kind of to all you, I guess.
With the amount of units that I have somebody who's almost full-time, and that person does it. Now I started doing cleans myself to see if I could be more efficient, and I was much more efficient.
Yeah.
So, I have to monitor that as well. But
Do you go hourly?
I paid her hourly, so that was the wrong incentive for her.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Learning lessons, right? But so it's almost full-time work.
Okay.
How many units we have?
Okay. Cool.
We've tried to think about monetizing cleaning, making $5 or $10 or $20 per turn, but the bottom line is if you've got a good cleaner that does it well, and if it's a
Right.
pass-through expense, if you're charging $75 and you're paying them, we're using 1099s only now. We haven't had any full-time we haven't had any employees where we're paying them, and so if we 1099 them, and if it's 75, and if they do a good job, we give it to them. It's just trying to make $5 or $10 per turn is you're probably gonna end up having some poor reviews, or people are gonna complain or whatever. It's a pass-through expense is the best case scenario, I guess.
Yep.
People expect it to be clean
Yeah.
AF, right?
Yeah, you're right. And we've got 2 or 3 now, because you almost have to, because when you've got 6 Sunday turns between a 4-hour time period, or Monday turns or whatever, it can't one person can't do it. So you need 1 or 2 more than you would think you would need.
Right. We keep 2 cleaners.
Yeah.
For just 2 units.
Yeah.
And we'll probably have, basically assuming 1 cleaner per unit,
Yeah.
even though one cleaner might clean on the same day if they call in sick. If I can't run home after work, if I can't do that kind of stuff.
What's your timer cost per clean?
We go per clean, and we do $30 a clean.
Yeah.
Cool.
We also say, by the time you're good at this, on the one hand, it should take you about 30 minutes. It's not a deep clean every time. It is straightening, rearranging, making sure everything's in place, and probably a better, deeper clean of one item in the apartment. Every once in a while, you're gonna have a messy guest, and it's gonna take a little longer. But on the flip side, you're gonna have every once in a while the guests that you could barely even tell they stayed in the place, and you're gonna be in and out, and that's what we're expecting, right? But the cleanliness is like, for us, it's your lifeblood. That's exactly correct. We have this saying so when we started, we were upstairs and cleaning downstairs, and my partner is like really into cleaning, and she came up with this motto for us, which was "not a hair," and it became a real joke because she would kind of get into this "not a hair" kind of thing, but it's true, because if you're staying in a place, you don't want to walk into the bathroom and see
Yeah.
someone's random hair on the floor, in the tub, on the sink. That's one of the one of the good things about a hotel is that when you walk in, hopefully, there's not someone's hair sitting around, right? And if you're cleaning to that level, then the place is clean and people notice it. People always notice it. And in our reviews, you go through our reviews and it's just super clean, super comfortable, relaxed as soon as I got in here. It's one of the things that gets you a good review. I stayed at a place in Burlington that photoed beautifully. I walked in, it was clean, but it was like a shell of a place. And I realized, like, oh, every single photo in this listing was perfect. But this place is not comfortable at all. And so then there was not a moment where I could walk into that apartment and actually just relax. There was like a little tension every time now.
Right.
If your place is clean and comfortable, people walk in, they can sit down and just like unload for a second. You earn at least a star right there. I mean, it's super important that a person, what's the thing? If you're selling a house and a person comes in and uses the bathroom, you know that they're comfortable enough to buy it, right? It's like, if you're comfortable enough to just like unload and relax, that's what cleanliness does.
And getting to what Ian said, we've got a lot of units, different sizes, different locations, whatever. The best way to make money, the best way is little 1-bedrooms in big houses. $99 a night and $400 a night.
Yeah.
Because 3-bedroom, 1 bath getting $129, they're great or whatever, but if we've got a duplex that we rent, we do have a lot of duplexes of 3 units. So for instance, we'll have a 3-unit property. We've got one listing that lists the first unit, one listing that lists the second unit, one listing that lists the third unit, and then another listing that lists 2, another listing that lists all 3, all that stuff. And if your calendars sync and stuff, the property we have in Uptown, it's a real nice, it's 6-3, everything. For the month of June, that's doing $8,000 just because we had some teachers come in and rent 14 days at $400 a day.
What do you think about an 8-bedroom place by the U of M? Would that work or not? It's too much?
I don't, is it one unit?
Yeah, it's a house.
Yeah, that's the
in
problem.
very good shape,
Yeah.
but small rooms for sure.
Yeah. Well, the smaller rooms don't matter too much. The thing we love about the duplexes is you can pop the 2 ones, and then you're going to get your big, massive, stays on, the full unit, stuff like that. But an 8, I guess,
Probably a little big.
problem by the U is you can get $500 a head rent to students.
Mm-hmm.
So the $4,000's your number right there, and your number is probably like 5 or 55 because you're paying everything.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So that's tough. By the U, I think I might just stick to letting students trash it every year and taking your money.
Okay.
Are the regulations for Airbnb different than leasing, long-term rentals? And so could you take, if you had a 4-bedroom house, could you install a door that locks to divide that up into 2 separate units or that kind of thing? Or?
I don't know if I know about those regulations in terms of inspections or whatnot. So each city will have its own regulations. Minneapolis is considered to be one of the most Airbnb-friendly cities in the country. St. Paul is considered to be one of the lesser friendly Airbnb places in the country. I think Airbnb in St. Paul would be terrible. I have no interest even looking into it. It's that bad.
Really?
Yep.
Why is that?
They have a max number of units per square mile. And so if you're not already in, someone's probably already got dibs on that square mile, and you can only have so many Airbnb units per building. So if you have an apartment building that you're converting over, you can only have a certain number of units. So a lot of complications that 20 times that many rules. Whereas Minneapolis, it's very Airbnb friendly. It's relatively simple. There's no inspection unless you've got a tier 3 or
Yeah.
or
Same-
already-
if
Same
you're not-
license
if you're
as
not-
as a
yeah,
regular
same
one.
license.
If you've got a tier
Same
1,
license as a
if you've got a
regular
tier
rental.
1, you're good to go. Meaning if you already got an existing license and the
Yeah.
property's in good condition,
Mhm.
you're good to go.
Hmm.
But I would be very wary of going to any suburb that hasn't made, and none of them have made official policies, because in a heartbeat, your Airbnb that's making you $1,000 a month can be gone.
Mhm.
Can be gone.
We have a home we managed in Stillwater, one of those giant homes, 10-bedroom homes. Yep.
Yeah.
So Super Bowl was great, but City of Stillwater was on it.
Yeah.
Like, when we had the listing up, they were on it within about a week, and then I accidentally relisted it one day, and they were on it within a week again.
Yeah.
So like they're checking weekly, and they've got a whole license thing, and got the team looking to figure out how do we reactivate that out there.
Huh.
But that's the problem is, you just, to be safe, stay in Minneapolis, I guess would be the our advice.
What are you guys' worries in terms of regulation for the future? Or say they came in and say, you have to own the place to do this short-term rental, those things.
Well, currently, the city of Minneapolis and a lot of cities do require this. Technically they do, but they don't follow up on the 12-ish% hotel tax.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you don't have to pay it, but in a lot of areas, Airbnb automatically takes that out, which is fine.
I thought they required that the platform
Well,
charges it and not you. They actually don't require it.
No, the platform's not charging it now.
Oh, okay.
So it's, and on
Okay,
your
I
honor, so to
understand
speak,
that I might have misread the thing, but
Yeah.
I
Is
saw
that- is that state by
headline
state
about it.
then, or is that? or they-
Yeah, it's state by state.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's city by city, like,
So
and
some of the states probably do.
like we rented one in Chicago last summer or whatever, and there was like 8 different fees. Some of them were like, $1.98 a night or something like that, but it was very, organized and specific, and honestly, I can't, it's the government, they're gonna want their money. Eventually that's gonna happen. Yeah.
Taylor, is that a threat to your business, say, if you don't own any of them? If they come in and say you have to own them?
So with the next wave of building units we're getting, I'm talking to the owner directly. We're gonna have the owner. I'm gonna basically fill out the form for him with his signature, and so it's gonna be fully.
Also, he'll have the rental license and such.
Yep. So he'll already have the typical rental license, and then he'll have technically a short-term rental license that I'll be using through him.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Because that would worry me, as like a real estate investor, like, yeah, it sounds very intriguing to do this, but on the other side of my head, I'm like, I want to own these properties so I can participate in appreciation, leverage, and all these things,
Yep.
Can't necessarily do that with that strategy.
Right.
So, shit the fan, what do I do next,
Right. Jacob and I have talked a number of times about buying, and I've gotten really close. Like we just talked again just a few weeks ago about this. For me, the property we're looking at was a 4-plex, about $500,000, and probably needed 40 or 50 grand worth of work. So you think about if it's $100,000 up front, and maybe he's got some awesome tricks to make it less than that, but. If it's $100,000 up front, 20%, if you got 50 grand to put in, that's before you even get the furniture in.
Yeah.
Being 170 grand in just is hard for me to eat when you even think about the appreciation. So I haven't pulled that trigger yet. Long term, that was actually like my ulterior motive to starting this business. I thought it'd be easier to get into real estate. So I'm getting to that wave. Like I think at some point a bank would say, yeah, we're doing like 25, 30 grand a month. If I can just show those financials and say, hey, just give me, let me get a mortgage for an apartment building, I would think it would work.
I think some of the larger banks are starting
Yeah,
to
there are
loosen
products.
up on that.
There are products out there that will allow Airbnb income. I think they're very conservative on what the income is, but as of right now, if you're buying on debt to income and stuff like that, if you're Airbnb, and you're kind of screwed.
Yeah,
'Cause they're not gonna allow
so
it.
from a lending point of view, we don't the mortgage guidelines that are written nationally for like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac don't address a difference between them. And so I've been working with Ian closely and frankly worried about how we were going to treat it. And and even will it change, right? But as of right now, we treat it like regular rental income, which is kind of crazy considering from a lender's point of view how up and down it can be. I mean, you just saw how February can be, right?
Yeah.
How do I give you your July rent for February? Do you know what I mean?
Right,
So
yep.
I think at some point they'll crack down on that, and when they do, generally it probably would go for the worse. But for now, we're treating it like regular rental income.
I mean, full disclosure, one of my buddies who we're probably gonna, he does a lot of flips and stuff like that, and he wants us to manage for him and stuff like that. And like I said, we don't love managing, but we do it for him because he's a friend of mine and stuff. He's making us sign, a fake lease, just so we can refi the property and get, at market rate. So, it's not like we're doing anything unethical. It might be a little gray area in the legalities and stuff, but he wants us to sign a lease and we'll rip it up. But he needs that $1,200 a month lease for a year so he can refi out of his flip and get it into an 80% loan to value mortgage and stuff like that. But if he just says, well, my buddy's going to Airbnb it for me, his lender's going to go, not going to work.
I would think, if I was to speculate, I would think if you're really going to do it and you're using the business model they're using, you're not going to get any banker to bank on you until you at least have a couple of years experience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you're not going to walk in 8 months later and be like, I'm making $8,000 a month, give me a loan. Sorry. That was all the summer, or whatever,
It's on your Schedule E for 2 years.
Yeah, I've got it for 2 years.
What we're doing with the buildings we own is we're leasing them to ourselves.
Oh.
The LLC who owns the building, state of Minnesota, which is a short-term rental company, is leasing it from the LLC that owns the building.
So you got the stable financials there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you've got okay. That's
So we're cutting a check to ourselves
Yep.
each month.
Makes sense.
Um,
Are you making money off yourself? Or?
yeah, better make 20%.
Someone's screwing me. I don't know who.
If you're going for a portfolio lender, they would require that you make 20%. So you'd have to.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's honestly, we haven't approached any refis, any people on refis or anything like that on the properties because we're just a couple of years in and we don't need any money.
You really can't shell game it that much. Your taxes are going to tell the story.
Yeah.
And so the reality is your taxes will tell the story.
Exactly.
You can think that you're gaming the system all you want.
No,
the reality is you're really not.
Yeah.
And they're going to look at the taxes for all your businesses, not just. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just.
Yeah, they're going to look at stay and go, well, they're generating X amount of dollars per month, and the good thing is it's everything is there's no, it's not any cash transaction, so everything is run through a credit card or whatever, so they know exactly
What you make? Yep.
if they dig deep enough, they know how much each property is generating, each unit is generating.
What sort of amenities do you think are important in the Twin Cities for short-term rentals?
Access to the Skyway in the winter is probably almost half of people ask about that. So we always make sure we're connected to the Skyway, or at least for most of the units. So amenities, at least in our place, we're able to get higher nightly rents. So in the summer, last summer we averaged $179 a night. This year I think it's going to continue to drop, maybe $149, but
Because of more supply?
more supply. Actually, that's my biggest concern about this year is with the Super Bowl. Been
A lot of people, they put in and they gotta get their money back still, right?
Right.
Or
So the
they
demand, has a slight increase year to year, and we can see those with reports that we can get through like AirDNA or whatnot. And then supply is, quadrupled or something from last year. So that I'm confident will impact us. And so it's just studying the financials year to year.
Do you expect those to go away though?
It's hard to know.
Yeah.
That's the thing we gotta wait and see.
We're
The
not
poor
gonna-
operators are going to go under.
We're not going to have another Super Bowl.
That's a
for
huge
while.
concern.
No.
Yeah, we've got the NCAA.
We got to find
Oh,
a
yeah,
floor
that's
next
true.
year.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. I can tell you
Well,
a massive pro tip. If you buy multifamily, they're going to want a furnace in every unit. They're going to want to control the temperature.
Yep.
So if you buy a multi and it only has one furnace and the thermostat is downstairs, which is usually where it is, you're going to have problems upstairs. Wire baseboard heaters in there, do something so they can control the temperature, because they might want it 76 upstairs and 68 downstairs.
Okay.
And that's a problem, a big problem in the winter.
Yeah, in the winter, we make a big
Yes.
deal about climate control.
Yeah.
We make a big deal about new furnaces, new water heaters. We make a big deal about, we have blankets all over the place.
Yeah,
We
we
make
do.
a big deal about, if you are, unfortunate enough to be coming to Minnesota in the winter,
Yeah.
you're gonna be warm and comfortable at our place.
So you have
Just so you know.
your duplex has two
Yeah.
units. Yeah. So we've got some that do and some that don't, and I would say 50% of our issues / complaints in the winter are, how do I turn the heat up? And we're sitting there, you know. So we've got one property that we've, a great location, great property. We can't. It's
Is
basically
it a duplex?
It's a single family that was turned into duplex.
Do you wanna-
Single runs on all the furnaces.
Are you gonna keep it?
Yeah. Oh, it's on 50th and Nicollet. It's right. It's like 5 houses off of Minnehaha.
I just bought a duplex, and including AC, I think it cost me like $6,000 to have it installed.
We tried to.
Furnace and all.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't
Can't get it to
do
work?
multiple runs. Can't do it. We can't put two units in there because it's just a single family, and the runs for the
You can't put them in the attic and go down.
Yeah.
no, it's completely finished.
Last question.
Minis.
What about putting it in a closet and going up and over? Because that's what we had to do in mine.
We could our
You
solution.
lose one closet,
Mhm.
and which probably isn't important in an Airbnb. And
Yeah.
then everything goes up, over, and down.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
Our solution, I think, is to upgrade and do hardwire baseboard.
Sure.
Yep.
Do you wire them all together so they're controlled by the thermostat, or?
Well, the problem with that though is then you don't got AC. Or is it only a problem in the winter?
Only a problem with it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, we own, I don't know how many AC units we own.
Mhm.
I mean, we own some, we've got, you know, our 8 unit that we just got in Uptown, on the 3rd level, we've got, you know, they're spectacular, they're just so nice. Balconies, everything, stuff like that. We've got 4 units, AC units. Just, I mean, it might be overkill, but if we're trying to get $179 a night, spending another $150, spending
But you're talking window air
$1,000,
conditioners,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But I mean, worst case scenario, we just throw for summer stuff. You throw window units
Window
in.
units in, okay.
You just overkill the window units.
Okay.
I'd rather have it too cold than too hot.
What do you think for amenities? And I was actually thinking more like
Oh.
in-unit stuff, but we could talk about both. Like-
We use every TV we buy is a 4K Roku TV. Every TV we buy. It's the
Same.
easiest user platform. If you want to do a DirecTV Now or a Hulu TV or something like that, that's up to you. It's $30 a month, give or take, or whatever. But having an easy smart TV is a pretty big deal. And if you've got, like I said, this is for multi-unit properties, a router in each unit. So if you've got U.S.
you mean
internet,
a wireless router? Yep.
yeah, if you've got U.S. internet on you know, you only need one, you know, cable or one internet line, but put a router on each unit. That just saves you some problems.
Yeah, we
So
do
do
that.
you use Minneapolis internet?
No, we use all the properties that we have are lucky enough to have U.S. internet, which is just lightning
Yeah,
fast.
you're very lucky.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with U.S. internet.
It's
so.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's very, very good.
There's a west of 35W
Yeah.
and south, maybe right around Minnehaha,
Mhm.
is the U.S. Internet zone, and where we are up in Seward. We used to live over in Uptown, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was like calling up Comcast and saying, "No, thank you."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the
Getting
price
on
is
the-
half.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's amazing. But now we're back on the Comcast.
Yeah, we've got the Comcast in all of our units. I was considering switching to extenders in the other units because they could probably all
Yeah.
lightly reach each other. Then you can save, $40-50 a month per unit. All those little things add up. But we've got a TV. We've got the HDTV antennas that we just plug into the TVs, so we don't have a cable subscription, just the Roku and then the antenna. Lots of blankets, extra pillows, a full kitchen with all anything you need in a kitchen, it's all there. We bring out fresh vegetables, fruits, waters, those kinds of things.
The obvious, the coffee, stuff
Yep,
like that.
coffee.
Yeah,
tea.
like you use Keurigs, I imagine.
No, we use all real, either drips
Okay,
or
real
pour
coffee
overs. Some of them we've got, if the property's nice enough, we'll give them 2 or 3 options. Because the pour overs, you can get pour overs for $20 on Amazon, and people with the filters and stuff, that's what I use. I love those. And you can get as pure coffee as you want. And twice a year, Cameron's they're down in Shakopee, they have like a huge warehouse sale.